Hey guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for coming in on time. All right, guys. Hopefully you guys, I see a message over here. Should be letting people in. All right, as usual, let's give us a couple of minutes for everybody to settle down. Hopefully you have some water, someplace comfortable to sit, and our minds ready for more AI. Because that's what normal people do on a Sunday evening. Learn AI. That's right. That's where the world has come to today. What are you doing on a Sunday? AI, like everybody else? What are you doing? Taking a nap? No. I'm here to learn some AI. All good, guys. We're going to have some fun today. This is probably going to be the most fun kind of one of all the sessions, just because of the creative juices that could be spilling over based on what we see today. I think this week's homework sessions are going to be good to see how everybody comes up with different things. So definitely looking forward to that. Let's give everybody another 3 minutes to get started. Make yourself comfortable. By the way, for those who joined early, consider taking a selfie of yourself or some other object near you and just having it in your computer if possible. You can use that or any other Google image. We'll be using some images to kind of play around a bit. And as usual, I'm getting some last minute slides being cleaned up on my end. Okay. All right, good number of you. All right, anybody else? Yes, a couple of people still joining. Another 2 minutes, guys. Don't worry about it. I would recommend, I did post up a link, like a bunch of links about different websites that we'll be using. So if you want to use your time diligently, go ahead and just register or sign up on these. Yes, if you guys can see that. Some of them require like an email registration, so just go through the process. Just save yourself some time so you can put them to use right away. And you're not waiting for somebody else. Another 2 minutes. Today's date is 8th February, isn't it? Okay. It's only a week from Valentine's, so hopefully some of these guys can...
This webinar is being recorded.
Can you guys hear me? Just give me a thumbs up or a two-fingered peace sign if you can hear me. Yes, okay. So if somebody's not able to hear, it might be your end. There's a lot of thumbs up and peace signs. Just try refreshing, open a different browser, ask your neighbor if the internet is working, how we used to do it. Hey Lokesh, thanks for joining. All right, another minute and then we get started. Did some of you guys actually check if the internet was working by the neighbors? It'd be funny if they said no. All right. Okay. Alrighty, let's get started then. Let me pull up the screens over this side, pop this over here. Okay. Well, no, you come here. All right, guys. So let's get started. If anyone does join in, you can sit in the back and we will get going with this. All right. So today we'll be looking at AI for media generation. If you're joining in fresh today, I'm Vishal. I'm the CEO and founder of Quantana. We're an AI design development company. But on the side, I also like reading up about what's happening in the area of AI technology in general, and I love sharing things. And this is now session 5. We've been through a couple of sessions talking about how you can improve your productivity. So please don't miss those videos. We discuss different ways that AI can help you accelerate your communication, slide creation, a lot of things that's very practical. Now, there's a lot of hype about what AI can do and can't do. And so what I try to do in these sessions is really bring it down to what I actually use on a regular basis, or even just as something that I see my team is using. And I'm definitely keeping in mind the audience is basically executives and leaders like yourselves. And you want to know what we can do right now with some of the capabilities over here. So today we're going to be focusing on images, video, audio, and AI avatars. So we're going to do quite a good amount. And if you can log into your Gemini, we'll kind of use that to get started in some of these right away. Okay, so let's look at image generation first. Hopefully that's probably the easiest and most fun thing to get started on. By the way, I use NotebookLM to generate all of these slides. If you want to know how I do this, I literally just voice dump about 3 pages worth of content and it creates slides for me. But it's pretty good. So you guys now have something to look at. So broadly, where the whole image generation technologies have been is they've evolved from something that's like a fun kind of novelty kind of factor to something that's actually useful on a regular basis. Again, depending on who you are, you'll find different levels of use for these. As of Feb 8th, 2026, Gemini's model is the best for image, so that's Nano Banana, that's something. And there was a new video creator model that just came out, again, called Higgsfield, that's currently trending. It's only been 2 days. But as of now, Gemini, I think, broadly covers the best of images and videos as of now. And this is a rapidly evolving kind of thing. So we'll get into how to think about image and video generation. So the first thing that I like sort of leaving an impression with is, how do you instruct an AI to use these video and image generation, etc., right? And the way I look at it, or the way I think about it, is there's a master painter who is really good at painting stuff, but they're basically blind. So they can't kind of understand anything about what you want unless you specifically tell them. So this is a big difference to, say, even how we think about text generation, etc., is that in text generation, it's mostly just one word at a time. So it kind of understands the previous context, etc. And you have meta prompting, which makes it slightly better, but you can get away with simple text and you can tweak it easily. With images, it has to generate like 1,000 pixels at one time. And the way it sort of thinks through that is it figures out, okay, well, what text matches this image as closely as possible and generates a version of it. Which means that every time you do it, you're rolling the dice. And so what you try and want to do is control the way that you're specifying the image that needs to be created. So an amateur way might be to kind of just say, give me this image, and it'll give you some sort of image, right? So if you can just see here, if I say, give me a dog, it'll give me sometimes this kind of dog, sometimes this kind of dog, sometimes this kind of dog, sometimes this kind of dog. So you don't want to kind of be playing sort of, a lottery roulette with this, etc. You want to really control what you're using to generate. And so I'll just start with this, and then we'll get into a couple of examples and how it might be useful, etc. So the senior approach, like I'd say the more mature way of looking at image generation right now, as of today, is to really be in charge of controlling what you want the image to come out as, right? So you can actually specify a lot of things in specific details. All right, before we get into a whole bunch of more detailed specific creation of images, I'll take a quick segue here and show you a quick kind of cleanup kind of activity that is one use case that we end up using. So let me just open up this Gemini over here. How many people have taken a photo where you wanted to correct something and then you couldn't correct that using Photoshop because we don't have Photoshop skills? So I'll show you a quick thing that I just did a few seconds ago. I took a photo of me, and I basically said, "Oh, I took a photo of me with this. Yeah, that's me," and I just put it here because that's what people do. And I just asked it to remove the white tripod case. It kind of knew what that was, and it removed it. And that's it. That's as simple as a use case it gets. And it's surprising how useful and how often we use this when we want to tweak certain things. Just removing something takes practically a second, etc. Now, here's where there might be something different. There's a little star that's been added over here from Gemini's perspective. So there's, say, two ways that I look at this. One, sometimes I'm okay with the star. I don't really need to change it. It's just an internal demo. I'll just leave it and move on. I'm perfectly fine with that. In some cases, I do want to not have this star. And if you notice, what it does is it takes a quick takes a quick watermark on whatever you're on. So there's two ways you can remove this. One, for example, is to say zoom out, and I tried a few things, and it zoomed me out, and then I can crop it, like I can cut the image again without this star. And another way would be to say paste this image into a bigger image, like put some white background on it, and then upload this image. So just as a very quick example to start with, if you guys can, we'll just spend about a minute. If you want to try doing this, try opening up Gemini. And if you can, upload a photo, or you can create an image, or you can take your own photo. And just for this purpose, I will just Google image search. I will just search for an image. It's the old-fashioned way, and just say dog eating some food. Yeah, so let's just take something that has something that I want to remove. This might be the cruelest example that I will show you, but I'm going to take this image and I will just say remove the plate of food. Okay, I'm not that cruel. Let's just say add food, more food to the plate. Again, this is a kind of amateur way of doing it, but let's just see what it does. And you can see here, it's gone from like effectively a empty or flat plate to more food. And it added a little star. But that's a good place to start. You can basically prompt anything related to an image, and Nano Banana is extraordinarily good at not changing a lot of things. So for example, in ChatGPT, previously there were a lot of issues where the photo that you got was different, slightly different from what you would get finally, but you can see pretty much the dog is identical to what you have over here. The only thing that has changed is this guy with that little star on it. So we'll just spend the next 1 minute. Just take any image. If you want to take a photo, you can see that I had taken a photo of myself to just remove something. So you can add or remove things, but go ahead and spend the next 2 minutes on changing something using a photo. So timer for 2 minutes. So please give this a try, guys. You can take a photo with your laptop. You can open QuickTime and take a photo or screenshot it, etc. Somebody asked if I can remove my specs. Yes, why not? Let's give that a shot. Let me see, download that. I'm being very amateurish here, but let's see what happens. Yeah, not bad. Yeah, let me just see if I can take a photo of me doing the exact same look. I think this is the blue steel look. Yeah, okay. I don't know how I posed for that, but I just took a screenshot of Zoom webinar, and yeah, fairly authentic. Yes. But I'm not a fan of dyeing my hair black, but dye my hair black. I'm trying to go for a certain look, you see. Okay, that's a very hard black. But yeah, I guess that works with what etc. Yeah. Okay. And that's 2 minutes. Oh, I was wondering what the sound was. Okay. So that's 2 minutes. I hope you're able to try this with some image or the other. That is one way of using it. Yes, I'm getting a lot of claps for my black hair, so should I take that as a sign? I'm not sure, but okay. But yes, you can change stuff out, and this is just one use case. Now, here's where you need to get, more exposed to different use cases more than anything. So once you know that in your mind that you can combine or you can actually manipulate images with words, that itself is a huge unlock. But don't be restricted by just, okay, I can change one thing, I can change the other, right? You can basically, you have a designer. Like, again, remember last time when we were talking about MBA interns as your researcher? Now you have a master Photoshopper who's now working with you. And they can basically design out whatever changes that you want and manipulate the images as you like them. Now, are they 100% perfect? maybe not. Maybe you need to tweak it, and maybe you might need to go backtrack multiple times. Again, the memory that the AI model has is restricted to pretty much this last image that it sees, whereas like a real human designer would know that, oh, okay, you don't want it this dark. Oh, I'll go back to this and make some changes, right? That's streaks. So you can kind of think of it as, okay, what's the last image that I have that I can make changes to? So if I want to go back and make changes, I would actually download it and then upload it and ask it to make some changes. Now, this is probably where we end. Whoa, okay there. All right, calm down there. So this is where you can generate and manipulate certain images. Use this for anytime you want to correct something from an image, anytime you want to just make some minor tweaks, and you were like, oh, if I had a Photoshopper, what would I do? This would basically solve that. Okay, now these are images editing, which is, again, probably where we end up using most of these. Now, when it comes to creation of images, which is probably the more valuable or equally valuable kind of thing when you're working on creatives and you're trying to do something from scratch, that's where you can basically ask Gemini to say, create an image of anything. So create an image of a person, Indian male, 36-year-old with transparent glasses, drinking Coca-Cola Zero. Okay, so I'll just create this. This is like a very naive way of creating images, but it does work. And by the way, I've also enabled image here, and it's on fast model. These tend to be a little bit faster than the pro model. I'll tell you the difference in a moment. But you can see here this person is drinking something that looks like Coca-Cola, etc. And transparent glasses. Definitely doesn't come with the silver linings. But it works pretty well, right? Now, this is where most people would probably just end up creating images and be like, oh, I'm not sure how to control this, etc., right? But what you can do is the more professional way of doing this, which is something we call JSON prompting, JSON prompting. So what is JSON prompting? So JSON prompting is just a more structured way of generating images. If you remember last time when I was talking about how to create prompts, you set the context, you set the example, you set these different aspects of a prompt. Similarly, when you're prompting for an image, you can use a structured way of doing it to specify exactly what you want. And there are basically 5 broad things that you want to control for. And over here, the first 2 are basically the subject, like what it is that you want. But you can also be very specific, saying, I want it to be looking at something. I want it to be happy. I want it to be doing specific things. And then the environment. So what's in the background? So there's a foreground, there's a background. And you can basically say that, I want some stuff like beaches, ocean waves, etc. So these are typically 2 things that we think about as a general person. But we can actually expand that a little bit more and talk about things like the style. So you can choose photorealistic, realistic photography. This is something that a lot of branding, media companies, and anytime you need product mockups, the keyword is realistic photography, right? So if you say the word realistic photography, it knows that it's trying to recreate something that should be looking as if it was taken by a DSLR or some sort of camera. You can also specify type of camera as well. That's another next thing. Ghibli art, you would have probably tried some version of this where we're creating different cartoons and anime and that sort of stuff. This is just definitely one of the styles. And then you can go for certain paintings. Again, if you want to recreate a certain painting, you can create your family photo in the style of Mona Lisa, right? So these are just different ways. And I guess the power of this is not the tech, but it's what you can think of in your head, right? So almost kids love doing this because they can think like in infinite ways. We often get stuck with what we're aware of or what we can think of the last time. So your creativity muscle is the most important thing at the moment. Yes, thank you for the compliments on the hair. Training, yes, sharing personal pictures. It is, again, the way I see it is it's an enterprise agreement or an agreement where they do agree don't use your photos for training. So it's largely as safe as sending your personal photos on email, etc. Right? So I'm not too concerned about that. There are worse ways. Sharing your photos on Facebook or Instagram is probably 10, 20 times worse than sharing it on Gemini. Okay, so JSON prompting, we're giving the style, we're giving what we want, foreground and background, and then here are the things that almost nobody does, which is controlling the lighting and the camera settings. So the way AI generates photos is it's been trained on different photos that were generated in the past or created in the past with very specific attributes, saying that, okay, there was a light here, there was light in the background, sunlight at the top, etc. And then the camera itself also can be really controlled. Now, I'm not a camera expert, but even if I meta prompt the scene that I want and ask it to generate a certain scene using like a movie camera or an IMAX camera or the camera that was used to make Batman Begins or camera that was used to make Bahubali, you can meta prompt the exact camera that was used for that, and then it can generate a scene based on it. So again, this is like a really controlled way of doing it. And I definitely suggest that you try this out. Now, the way I would do this, for example, I kind of go back to this guy. I will just say, turn off the image. Create a very detailed JSON prompt that allows me to manipulate this image to see the same angle from the front as if it was a high-budget movie and shot at night with sort of lights from a car on the side. So I'm going to ask it to create a prompt. And by the way, when I said JSON prompt, it figured that out. So I'm going to let this go. Oh, no, don't do Nano Banana. Okay, well, it did sort of version of that. Sorry, sometimes AI is finicky this way. Don't create an image, just give me the JSON prompt text. There you go. So now you can see here what all has it given. 36 male, that's what I've given. Now front facing is what I've asked. Urban city, moody, high budget neon, 35 film grain, 85 anamorphic lens, with bokeh. Again, these are very technical things. I'm going to be frank, I don't understand all of it. All I trust is that my meta prompting skills will take care of the details. Would you like me to generate? Yes, now generate it. Yes, please. There you go. So JSON prompting, just to repeat that again, I created a simple prompt and I got this image. And I spoke in this way, just saying that, see the angle from the front, make it a high budget movie, and it did some minor changes. Now I basically meta prompted. Meta prompting is basically prompting to create prompts or editing prompts. And it's created a very structured, almost code-like request to tell Nano Banana what to do. So it's taken my 2-3 lines and converted into subject, environment, technical specs, and any sort of scene modifications, etc. Now, the best practices involve the subject, so what's in the foreground, what's in the background. Environment is what's what's in the background. What is the lighting? Lighting is one of the most often overlooked things, but it's very important when you're doing photography. So anyone who's made a movie would know that, how much light is on the face, how much light is on the back. So all of that it'll capture. And technical specifications, right? So how is the camera going to look like, and which camera even? So a JSON is just, technically it means JavaScript object notation. All it means is it's going to be very structured instead of like a 2-3 paragraphs. And then I use this image, and you can see it's converted into this. So it's interpreted, it's taken this photo of sitting on the side. And in fact, I said same angle from the front in a high budget movie. It just called this a high budget movie. But if you see here, now there's like glares on the side. I mean, this could be a police investigation movie. There's a bokeh effect. So the background is blurred as if there was a very high expensive camera that's being shot on him, etc. Right? So these prompts, if you're generating an image, you would follow this. And let's say you're trying to make multiple scenes. If you give a very detailed JSON prompt, you can use that as a basis and then meta prompt to say, okay, now let's create scene 2 with the same camera, but now change the environment, change the subject, etc. Right? So you can maintain the same camera. And so you're trying to restrict the dice rolling so that if I do the same like one sentence thing, I will get, in fact, let me just try creating another version of this. Coke Zero, but at night time. Now, this particular chat has some context, but if I was giving this to my colleague and saying, hey, use this prompt to generate, I'm 100% sure they will get some entirely different person, right? So there's no connection between the two. There's a decent version of that. Now, I'm slightly biased by what has happened here, like in this conversation, but you can see that it's mapped and done a fairly decent job. Okay, so JSON prompting, again, all you have to do is say, create a very detailed JSON prompt of this, and it will create this text. It's almost like a very detailed note to AI, and then you can use that to generate this. This is just an example. Some of you will never use this for the rest of your lives, but for those who do, this is how you kind of control and bring the best kind of images. It's always good to know this. Yeah. All right. Oh, yeah. Thanks for this slide, Nano Banana. So you can see all it has done is just removed whatever I've given as an example. Yeah. Now, this is probably another very useful use case. Anyone who's got like an e-commerce business or shopping business or anything that you want in the physical world that you want to merge and create two things, right? So merging and virtual placements is a very, very popular use case. We use this quite often when we are creating, in fact, let me see if I can find, this is just me humble bragging for a while. Let me see if I can find our company. Yes, as you can see, I'm very prepared for this. Yes, this is not a product placement plug. Okay, it is kind of, but there would be a post when we won the Best AI Services Award recently. Yeah, I'm really dragging this one out, aren't I? Oh, yes, let me just take my time and scroll through all of this. Now, I'm looking for a specific post. Yeah, so you can see over here, there's different images that we're generating. All of these are obviously mostly AI generated, but this is the one I wanted you to see. Yeah. Yes, I'm humble bragging here, but we did get nominated and won the Best AI Service Provider in Hyderabad recently. But you can see this image. We uploaded the award photo, and we uploaded the certificate image and said, create this as if it was on a tabletop inside a frame, etc. Right? I will pretend all the claps are not for the AI thing, but for winning the award or vice versa. But yes, this is like an excellent use case. I was actually shocked at how good this looked like. And I was like, did you like Photoshop this in? Because the old way is to kind of put it there and then create a fake shadow and then put a frame and sort of align the edges. And my designer basically said, no, that's just Nano Banana. And I stitched that together and put that up. So anytime you get something physical and you want to create and make it a good mock-up, this is like a very useful tool. And this would have taken maybe half an hour to 1 hour on Photoshop to do manually and get it right. Nano Banana maybe took 2 minutes with the right prompt. So this is definitely one of those use cases that we do use. So this is an example of product placement or virtual placement, etc. and you can put in any sort of physical object, etc. Different examples, you can also do virtual try-ons. So you can basically take any photo and change anything you want. This was recently controversial. So Grok AI bikinis, yes. Now this was very, 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 very bad. But you should be aware of this, that a lot of people on, I'm hoping this is not going to be safe for work, but yes, without getting into too many images, Grok was an AI model, is an AI model on Twitter, and it made it very easy for people to take an existing photo and then just put her in a bikini. There are some hilarious and definitely not safe for work, not safe for life photos of Donald Trump in a bikini as well. I will not be showing that, and hopefully you are not curious enough to go look for those images of Donald Trump in a bikini. But yes, that is possible with Gemini. And I think there are some more restrictions now because these have become sort of viral. You can manipulate images as you wish is the key takeaway. But as a product, yeah, you can upload a photo of anything that you want over here, and you can combine it with an existing model or make up a model. And as you've seen, even as a basic use case of taking an award and putting it into a real life photo. This is sort of one use case. All right, moving on with use cases. This guy. So a red pen. This is probably one of my favorite underrated things that AI can do. And the benefit of a model like Gemini is what makes this uniquely possible. And why do I say this uniquely possible is that there are image generation AIs which take like a prompt, like a JSON prompt, and it will create an image for you, etc. But Gemini also has a lot of intelligence, so which means that it can analyze images and edit them for you with that intelligence, right? So this is something where, again, a lot of you need to probably review images, review graphics, and need to literally mark up something. And this is where AI can do that on your behalf, which is exciting and scary at the same time. But I'll take an image, I'll take an example and do this for you over here. Let's go back to my LinkedIn. And let me just take a screenshot of this. Or yeah, let me just take a screenshot of this. This is good enough. All right. Now I'll open up Gemini. And I'll take my LinkedIn here, and I will say something like, act as a personal branding expert and mark up these images with ideas on how to improve this for visibility. Use a red pen to make the markup changes and feedback. And here I can switch between fast and pro. There is a slight difference between them because the underlying analysis part, there's two different models, there's fast and a pro. Nano Banana is basically the same in both of them. They can think kind of the same way and give the final images, but the analysis part will vary slightly. So if I want better analysis, then I would go for pro. Fast is like 90% as good as pro, by the way. So just for today, I'll just use the fast one. Now, this is something that, again, you can set up a custom gem for. Again, start thinking in layers, right? So this is a use case that Nano Banana unlocks, but can you upload something and get feedback from images, etc.? And I had to turn on the images, so I'll have to do that again. Silly me. Copy. By the way, everybody get ready to do this. This is another doing moment. And yes, AI will be able to review usability in UI flow. Yeah, it's surprisingly good at that. We will do that. Okay. Now, I didn't give it the full context. This is my LinkedIn profile, so it's kind of treating this as a UI in analysis, right? So simplifying AI for business. Okay, I mean, some of these things it's kind of tweaked, etc. But make bold, activate creator mode. That's a feature. Integrate and bold text. I'd say DM for keynotes. Okay, I guess that makes sense. I can put some sort of keynotes over there. Get your AI strategy roadmap. So instead of saying book some time, it's actually recommending me to convert this to AI strategy roadmap. And add a featured section. So it's asking me to upload videos. Again, I didn't give full context. It doesn't know it's LinkedIn. It doesn't say anywhere that it's LinkedIn. It could be any app or anything else, but it's sort of suggested that I go for it. Now it has tweaked some of the text. That's just the nature of the model, but it does a fairly good job of it. Okay, so let's now spend another 2 minutes. Open up your LinkedIns. Or if you don't want to use your LinkedIn, just open up any. You can open up my LinkedIn. You know what? Let's open up my LinkedIn. If you're not already following me, please drop a follow. That would be great. Just open up my LinkedIn, take a screenshot, and put it into Gemini. And you can use this prompt, which I've just pasted in the chat over here, to see what it says. Now, if you want to use it with your LinkedIn, you can. If you want to use somebody else's LinkedIn, you can, right? This is just an example. The keyword here is red pen and make the changes, right? If you don't say red pen and make the changes, it's going to try something else because it knows that it's going to mark it up. All right, 2-minute counter. All right, let's continue. If you guys are seeing something, so a couple of you asked whether we can have URLs. At the moment, no. It will not take a screenshot of a website, though. What usually, if you drop in a URL, it'll just go and copy the text and do some analysis. So it's not going to be a visual kind of thing. There are some other tools that do have a version of it. I find the easiest way is to just take a screenshot and paste it in. And it says you might, when it says I'm a text-based AI, you might need to manually activate Gemini. Well, sorry, Nano Banana, etc. Only then it might then be triggered. So if you kind of give this explicit thing, then it should work. So I'm going to try this again. And just to see what happens, I'm going to turn on the Pro model. So you can see here, guys, meta prompting. I gave it a act as a UI UX design expert, just verbally gave this out. But then I said enhance it to draw increased conversions. Again, it kind of took that to mean things like behavior economics, visual hierarchy, trust and friction. So now it's gotten smarter and it's going to try and give me more. So now that I've raised the hype on this guy, please just don't disappoint me. Okay, take your time, that's all right. So it's actually going to go through each of these screens. So it's doing a lot more thinking. This is the Pro model, so it's actually going to do a lot more internal thinking before it finally says, okay, here's the analysis, and then pushes it to Nano Banana to make the image, right? So Gemini has this benefit of being both an LLM as well as image generation. So you get the power of both if you use it correctly. All right. Now you can see the feedback is, yeah, so I guess on this page, there's no tagline, which I realize is feedback, and it's saying combine the two. Instead of continue, get started. That's a great feedback, actually. Too much text, cognitive load, rephrase it, add a progress bar, step 1 of 3, not just this thing. And is this home screen? Yeah. So this is very good feedback. I mean, thanks for asking the question, etc. Now, there are a couple of spelling mistakes. Again, if sometimes using the Pro model does make it slightly better, it may try and tweak some of the text, but largely you can see that it's able to offer a good amount of feedback, combining the image generation capabilities as well as the text capabilities. You can increase the capability through your prompt, so give that a try. And if you're not happy with it, just ask it to regenerate it and try it again. You'll be surprised that maybe that's all it needed. Okay, moving on then. And yes, so we spoke about some image generation. So that's pretty much all I had to share about images in terms of the way we end up using things, at least in our organization. We talked about cleaning things up. We talked about generating images, tweaking certain things, like if you want the image to look right. Again, we're not using too many image generation things at the moment, except for very specific cases where we need those very specific mockups. But when we're trying to combine those images and create sort of like, product placement kind of things, those are very useful. I gave you an example of how we're using it for our company, just by creating very nice looking, realistic looking product placement kind of things, etc. Just one general advice to everybody over here is, thanks NotebookLM for this, but visuals are no longer optional. More and more, you're already using infographics, I hope, from NotebookLM. Do not just ever send out like a whole bunch of text and tell people to read it. AI can generate text. Text is cheap, right? You can generate 100 pages. Nobody's going to read it. They're going to put it into their AI. They're going to ask them to summarize it and give them what they want. But images are slightly different. You can't help but put your eyes on it. And so wherever possible, generate a infographic or generate some sort of image or something that grabs people's attention. And if you're trying to, as a product manager, as a founder, trying to get investors, etc., sell the vision using the visual, right? And you'll be surprised at how good these image generations are and quickly bouncing off ideas, and your team will be more on board with them. So please do those out. Yes, and Cool. So, yeah. In case you're having issues with the images and stuff like that, you can just put the prompt saying, don't change any of the underlying text, only add markups without changing any of the underlying images or the content, right? So again, hopefully you're starting to think of, okay, well, it's doing something that I don't like. How do I fix it? Well, you literally just ask it to not do the thing that you don't like, right? So it'll be quite good that way. All right, so we looked at images, so we'll take a quick segue now into video, which I think is also cool, but I'm going to keep this nice and short because video is still evolving to that extent. But there's a nice little scene that I just want everyone to sort of watch and just be aware of how quickly AI has changed, right? So there's a very famous benchmark in video of Will Smith, the actor Will Smith, who is eating spaghetti, right? So it's called the Will Smith spaghetti benchmark. And you can see here. All right, so I think this is probably the best way that I've seen, represent evolution of AI, not just text AI and LLMs, but just as of Feb 2022, we're in 8th Feb 2025, or 2026 rather. It's been 4 years, and this is what it looked like for video generation, right? I mean, there's some spaghetti, there's a person, people, etc. And in July 2022, we could see that there's now some shape and form. In 2023, he has a beard made of spaghetti, and that there's this physical deformities, right? And in 2025, which is close to where we are today, we're now able to get pretty good photorealistic videos with consistency, etc. Now, that being said, video is still far, far from perfect. Like it's honestly quite terrible. It's quite amazing for generating short scenes, but it's quite terrible for generating anything more than that. But let's look at what we can do. So let me just open up my good friend Gemini over here again. Oh, thanks for that. And I'll show you something I just did a moment ago. Yeah. So as of today, the absolute best practice for generating any sort of video is by first generating an image or taking a source image, right? So if you think about how hard it is to get an image right in terms of all that JSON prompting and structuring, the setting, the background, the camera, the lighting, etc., that's just one frame. Now, when it comes to generating a video, it actually has to figure out the first frame and then the second, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on. And each time it does this, it actually has to guess what will happen next, right? It actually doesn't know what it's going to do each frame of the way. So I've just given a very simple prompt just to give an illustration. Show I'm drinking this, say amazing, and smiling. So I'm going to just do that. No, there's no audio on this one. That's just how Gemini has. There are some other tools that stitch together audio as well, but let's just see how realistic that is, right? So okay, for those of you who are looking at me while looking at this as well, hopefully got the idea that's reasonable. that's pretty decent to some extent, right? Yeah, the things I do to make this entertaining. But you can see it does a fairly decent job of creating this, and it does it in a loop. Oh, I was not wearing my jacket earlier. But now you can see some things that it has made up just based on this. It kind of figured out, well, it's a drink, so even the liquid is falling consistently. I said amazing, so it kind of interpreted that as like I don't think I ever. Yeah, I suppose I can smile like that, but that's not a natural smile, but that's okay. And yeah, and it stitched together that entire scene. Now, the limitations of today, as of AI, as of Feb 8th, 2026, is that there is a very, very hard limit on the number of seconds that it can make. So just go to the generated guys. Yeah, so pretty much as of today, there's basically a wall of about 8 seconds on Gemini. That being said, there's basically it can take the starting frame and then it generates the rest of the scenes. So the best practice is still starting with an image and then generating, the rest of the video. So it starts with the first one, and then it'll develop the rest of the frames based on that. Now, because of the way all the videos work internally, just so you guys know, what it does is it sort of figures out, okay, there's a starting frame, what we call the anchor frame. It figures out, okay, what is the most likely next frame going to be? And what is the next frame going to be? What's the next frame going to be? And so it can go very quickly and go into some weird tangent that is not what you expect. And that's why the current tech basically is 8 frames at a time, right? I mean, sorry, 8 seconds at a time. It's because, if I let the whole thing run for like an hour, it will not know what the next frame is. It will just go into some weird tangent, etc. Now, text is much easier to control as of Feb 8, 2026. So we can generate 100 pages at one shot with the deep research models and multiple things. But video is very computationally intensive, and even one image to generate takes, say, 2-3 seconds. A video to generate takes, you can imagine, a lot more time as well as that. Yes, so while it's sort of figuring out what those frames look like, it effectively freezes on one particular flow, and then it stitches that together. So that's how video works as of now. And the best way to do it right now is to invest a lot of time in that first frame, and so that when you generate the output, you can sort of see more or less what you expect. Now, even this practice is not perfect at all. Our team has been generating images and videos for different projects, etc. One 5-second frame often takes maybe an hour of multiple iterations of videos, because you're pretty much rolling the dice each time and just hoping that it sort of lands on the exact one that you want, where nothing goes wrong. In some cases, it'll generate something where the smile is too big. Some cases, extra fingers come in. Some cases, something is magically floating. And then one universe, it's perfect. And you might need to do that 10, 20 times, etc. So, all right, another homework / working activity now is, for those of you who have the Gemini Pro model, just take any of your previous images and just prompt the next few seconds, right? So this is where a little creativity is needed. Just take any image. I took a photo of me, and I kind of knew what the next scene would look like. But just take a scene of anything and prompt this and enable video mode. So action for you: upload a photo, describe the next 8 seconds, and click generate video. I will take a 3-minute stopwatch on that one until you guys are done. Alrighty. If anyone needs another few seconds to let your video get generated, it's all right. Another 10 seconds. 30 seconds it is. All right, let's resume. So hopefully you guys were able to try creating a video from a starting frame, etc. I want to just show you an example of a small drinks company called Coca-Cola. Oh, I think I'm a brand ambassador at this point. They should just be paying me for this. Have created their annual holidays ad using AI. So I'll just play at least a couple of seconds from this as it can load. Anyone catch the absolute irony of the tagline of real magic at the end? Okay, so this ad, if you haven't seen it yet, again, beautifully made, looks great, 100% AI. Now, what does that mean? That means people who understand how to create a good ad have come together, sat with designers who can write nice prompts, create nice starting frames, and then stitch that together, and a lot of storytelling skills as well to make that happen. Now, one thing that was very interesting me for looking at the exact video is if you see the entire video, it looked nice, right? You watched it from beginning to end. You didn't even pay attention to the truck that was going. But somebody, not me, did this very detailed analysis of all the trucks from beginning to end, every frame, to figure out things like where the wheels are, right? This one doesn't have this wheel, this doesn't have that wheel, this doesn't have any back wheel. That sounds terrible for safety purposes. But that's all the different scenes. So you can understand that, even between an ad made by the largest drinks company in the world, they aren't able to get the one most important thing in the entire video to be consistent across the entire scene. So what they would have done is they would have said, all right, well, these are 10 frames we want to do. There's a truck going on this street. There's a truck crossing some penguins. There's a truck through a forest. There's a truck through a bigger forest. There's trucks on a bridge. There's trucks entering the city. And they would have created frame by frame what they want each of these trucks to look like, just the general look and feel. They would definitely use some sort of JSON prompting to keep the lighting and the colors and everything consistent. And then they would have generated maybe, if each second or each 5 seconds is one frame that we saw, easily 50 of these videos for each second, selected the best one, and then finally put this together, right? Now, this video was made completely by AI is a bit of a misnomer. A lot of human effort was definitely put together to make this sort of video. But that being said, now if they want to make this video using like a traditional 3D animation or even a video recording, etc., this would have taken many months and probably 20 to 30 times the budget they would have spent to make this. There might have been like 400 or 500 people working on this kind of project, whereas this could have been made by 5 to 10 people. So from a productivity perspective, this is definitely a huge value addition. But yeah, this is hopefully a good indication of how this might work. Now, if you think about the process of image frames, the initial frame to generate, to getting the final video, we can actually take it one step back. And I just found this nice example of like you can take a sketch of something on a paper, and you can ask Gemini to create a photorealistic version of that. And then you can ask to create a video from that particular image, right? So for those of you who have kids, this is probably a fantastic use case to show off what AI can do. Take a drawing that they've made, make it photorealistic, create a video out of it, share it back with them, right? I mean, this is just one such use case. Now, this is like a fun use case, but if you think about it, this is how movies are made, right? You'll start with a storyboard, and then you can create some sort of nice realistic shot, and then you can create a video out of it. But give this a try. This is a very fun sort of thing. But not just fun, you can actually use it to generate a lot of ideas that you want to bring to life. Believe me, guys, it's very powerful when you have an idea and you can just do a quick sketch, convert it into something that looks that realistic. You're going to get a lot more buy-in on your concept or your idea, and inspire your team to do more than just, okay, guys, I have these 20 slides, let's go through them. No, start using your audio and video capabilities. It'll just make you look a lot better. Yeah, so just to recap, in terms of how videos are made, first create your frames using image generation, and then use the capability of generating videos. Just keep in mind that you might need to iterate on a lot of different scenes. Again, this is how AI works as of Feb 2026. And yeah, pick a good sort of final video set and stitch it together. And this is how it currently works. All right, so we're going to now switch gears a little bit and start looking at audio. Whether keep popping in some questions, etc. You will find some of these to be quite interesting. All right, we're going to take a switch into audio. We're about the next 20 minutes of this, and then we'll open up for Q&As. So we'll run through this fairly quickly. We are going to cover AI avatars as well on this one. So as soon as we're done, please keep your hands raised if you want to come up on the stage and speak your questions out as well. Okay, so let's now look at audio. Now, the current leader for audio in the world is ElevenLabs. They're amazingly good, and they're quite expensive if you want to use them generally. When I say expensive, relatively more than other companies, but they're so good that, like I said, this is the best in class. We have used them. Again, pretty much everything I'm showing you is stuff that we actually use, rather than showing things that are cool to look at. ElevenLabs, let me just sign up on this. They do have a fairly generous free tier that you guys can explore. I would definitely recommend you do that. And in fact, all I did was ElevenLabs voice cloning. So there is a link if you go to this particular link, voice cloning. I just pasted that in the chat or Q&A over here. So the ElevenLabs voice cloning is surprisingly good. And what I've done here is it'll ask you to first record yourself and then upload some text, and then it'll take care of you from there. So just click on the link that I've just shared if you can see that. Is that not there? Well, I'll put that in the WhatsApp group as well. Clone your voice. So this is this section over here. You can kind of start with this. But if you're already signed in, you have a version of that here as well, where you can, once you log in, you can sign up I am on the paid tier, but the free tier does have at least one iteration of this that you can try. You can clone your own voice. So let me just try instant voice clone. There's other levels, like you can just prompt a voice. You can be like, I want a traditional Brazilian accent of somebody, but who's lived in India for 10 years, a male. So you can ask it to create voice designs that way, or you can clone your own voice. So I'm going to see if I can clone my voice. And it asked me to record 10 to 20 seconds. And I will just do that. Hey guys, this is Vishal speaking. Good morning to you, and I would like to teach you about AI today. AI masterclasses are where people come and learn about the latest tech and trends, as well as actionable insights. The quick brown fox jumped over the old lazy dog. She sells seashells by the seashore. Anything else? I'm happy to answer any questions at the end of this session. Be awesome. Cool. So I recorded my voice, and I'll just click next. It's going to process this. So what's it going to do? It's going to try and convert this Vishal AI clone. And let me just save this voice. Oh, I have to consent. AI clone. I'm not sure if you can hear the voice coming out of this, but now I have some options. It's taken my voice, it's going to clone it. I can generate new speech, or I can talk to myself, which is slightly scary, but yes, you can do that. Or you can generate a story using an AI to create the context, etc. So let me just generate some speech for today. And I've previously just created this. Hi there, welcome to today's masterclass. How are you doing? And I will just generate this. And let me just download that so that it's there. And let me see if I can just send that. I'll just send this on WhatsApp so you guys have it. I can just play it. Hi there, welcome to today's AI Masterclass. How are you doing? Hi there. So this is a very short recording, but it's converted my voice. Now, is it 100% perfect? Probably not. At least that's not how my inner head voice sounds like. But it is close. It was able to do this in a few seconds. There is a more professional version of this. If you upload like 30 minutes of a recording, then it can really go through all the nuances and get your voice absolutely right. Again, ElevenLabs has a huge number of voices. You can actually earn money with your voices. So for those of you who have been told that you're blessed with an amazing voice, you can actually upload your voice and other people can use it as well. So ElevenLabs has a whole bunch of other features, but just voice is a very useful kind of thing. We have used this in the past to generate voiceovers for videos in different languages. So in the past, we had to create a video in English and in Arabic and in French. And we kind of used the different voices, used Gemini to translate it, and then type it in French and then say, speak it in French, right? So different use cases, if ever you need different voices, you can do that. If you want to replicate these voices, you can. Don't need to. There is a free trial in ElevenLabs, which is you can play around with it. It's fairly generous enough for at least a couple of conversations. All right, we've got two more things that we're going to get through. One is generating music, and this is the fun one. And again, I'm trying to give you the interpretation of what is useful and what we have actually used. You guys will probably come up with more use cases. The point is just to make you aware of them so that you can put them to use. All right, Suno.com. I'm not sure why it's not coming. Suno.com is an AI music generation solution, and it's surprisingly good at creating music. They're now in version 5 of the models, and there's a lot of music that people are just getting popular with on their own. And in fact, Spotify AI-generated music, top of charts, country. There was a team, and again, this is now, look at how old it is, more than 2 months old. Wow, even Guardian is saying 2 months is too much. But this, in Spotify, there are certain songs which are now hitting top 10, top 50, etc., made entirely using AI. And again, when I say made using entirely using AI, it's probably by somebody who knows how to create good music, has good taste, and then is able to pick, you can generate songs, you can generate 100 songs in an hour, but choosing the right one, I think, is now the bigger skill set. And so you can now generate images, you can generate videos, you can generate songs as well. So what is the one that you want to go live with? That's the skill set you guys have to bring to the table. So let me just create a quick song. Let's see, a pop song about learning AI skills. Cool. So now it's gonna take my request, and okay, now it's sort of doing a preview mode of this because it's kind of on this model, but I can actually go for like a slightly older model and use maybe more of that, right? Again, interesting. Just a couple of moments ago, they had like full songs being generated, but this is good enough. Let's just see what it comes up with. Now, the reason I'm sharing this is not like every day you'll go out and start making music. I certainly don't. But some of you might have different occasions. But I'll tell you a story of how this was extremely useful just a couple of months back. So we, as part of the IIM Bangalore Alumni Association, we have our annual event, etc. And last year it was at the Taj Hotel. And when we came up there, we were told that, oh, you can't play any music without paying for a license to play that music, pop music, etc. And we were like, huh, that's new to us. We already paid for one license, but there's this new license. Anyway, whole lot of discussion later, we said, we're not going to play any commercial music. So what do we do? So one of our other committee members said, hey, I've created a song that is basically about this event, and it sounds nice. And we heard it. And then we said, yeah, why don't we just play this? And the funny thing was, there were actually two people who had come in from this licensing company, etc., saying that if you guys play even one song, we will basically sue you guys or go after you, etc. And so we were almost like, okay, let's see how well this goes. And so we ended up taking that one AI-generated song, and we looped that in the background for 4 hours. So for 4 hours, these two guys were listening, waiting for us to trip up by playing some commercial song, and we never did. And it was all thanks to Suno and the AI song that it had come up with. And it was quite good. It was quite good. It was actually about the event and coming together in multiple cities. It was really customized to us, and it sounded nice as well. And that was just one song. We could have generated multiple songs for different things, but we've done that. So let me just see if I can. I'm not sure if you could hear that. Let me just record that and put it in the WhatsApp group so you guys have it. Again, this is not going to be amazing. All right, I just sent that recording across. Yeah, so that was one use case. Again, that's pretty much the only use case that I've personally had to use and I found useful in that sense. But Valentine's Day is coming up. So if you want AI to create a very customized romantic song about your partner and with specific things that only you know and that sounds in the right vibe that they like if they're into classical music or slow music or pop music or hit music or whatever it is, this is a fantastic tool for trying that out. And yeah, try it out, just to see what happens. And if nothing else, if you haven't bought any Valentine's gift, maybe this is one way to make up for that. Yeah. There are certain features out here. You can upload some samples in the more pro tier, etc. Again, I haven't used this for more than that one time, and but you can play around with this. This is currently the best in class for music generation, so play around with this. Kids absolutely love this. You should definitely let them with all the image, video. Make sure if you have kids, make sure they try it out. I think this is like a major unlocker. This is the right place where imagination can be brought to life, right? So it's definitely cool that way. Yes, you can download it. I think there is something you have to do to unblock or plug. You can download it. Download My Brain. Okay. There will be an option to download somewhere. It might just be paid or something, but yeah, there you go. Download anyway. And there you go, it's downloaded. Okay, so those are on voice and music. And just to wrap things up, the last thing that we'll be discussing today is AI avatars. Hey, how many of you reached out on that one? So let's look at this. So there's a site called heygen.com. And the reason we've kind of come out of Gemini and etc. is, yes, you can create videos using Gemini, and you saw me kind of use my photo and create a quick video of it, right? So that's like one simple use case of taking a photo, generating a video. You can do that for multiple use cases, right? But what we consider as sort of virtual avatars, etc. Currently, the market leader is HeyGen. As of 8th Feb 2026, this is currently the best in class. And what they have is multiple features, like you can generate completely fake people. There's this whole category of videos called UGC, user-generated content. And what's becoming a bigger trend in 2026, expect half, if not 80–90% of your Instagram to be entirely fake people selling you real products. If you are in the product business in any way, you can definitely use this to create videos that are hyper-realistic, etc. Right? Now, I will also plug in here. I would request everybody's help if you can share a testimonial of this video, of these classes, if you like them. I did ask in the group. For those of you who have sent something, thank you so much. For those of you who are listening and really shy, maybe you can use this tool to send something, but for now, just record something. That would be nice. All right, let's see what all it can do. Now, I have created something. It does take a few seconds to process, but it is surprisingly easy to do. So the way you would do it is you basically can click on My Avatars, and you can, let me see, create a new one. Oh, no, that's different. Okay, I think I've already used my limitation over here, but there will be an option to create your avatar. And when you do that, you will be asked to, in fact, let me just see if I've got these screenshotted. Yeah. So the first time you come over here, you can just click here and it'll ask you to record yourself. And I forgot to take a snapshot of that, but it'll record you for about 30 seconds. And then it'll say it's processing, etc., etc. And then finally, you can come to the studio. So let's look at the studio and see what it's created. So in the studio, I can edit if I want. So the way it works is, if you think about AI again as different parts, right? So we saw Gemini had like the thinking brain, and then it had the image brain. That's how the markup happened. And the video generation, it takes an image, kind of generates the next few frames, and it gives you a video. So in this case as well, the avatar, it takes your basic photo as a base, and then it takes your voice and a prompt that you can put over here and allows you to generate a video, right? So let me see if I've got this already. Let me download this. Sure, download it. It's created a 7-second video. So let's see, you're gonna play this. Yes, that is not me, but that is my virtual avatar that's created of me. Now, if you see here, what has it done? It's kind of taken my hand movements that makes it hyper realistic. It's got my video face on, the one that I'm like kind of thing, and then it's got my hands. I mean, all put together in sort of one frame. So it's also taken my voice and converted that into a clone of the voice, combined that with lip sync, and created a very good version of it. So I'll just share this as an MP4 so I can share it. And you can see, let me just airdrop it right here. I'll just put this on WhatsApp so you guys can see this. Oops, I meant that here. Cool. So I've just shared that on WhatsApp, so you can see that exact output as well. Now, like I said, this is as of Feb 8th, 2026. Now, the things that come with Gemini, everyone's being very generous. Like Google wants us to get into the ecosystem and get addicted to it. That being said, this year's models are probably going to get cheaper, and next year's models are going to be the ones. So let's say the iPhone 17 has come out and we're like, yeah, this is cool, but it's so expensive. But in like 3 years, it's going to be a lot cheaper. And then now you're going to want the new thing. So what Gemini, ChatGPT, all of these guys are doing is they're bringing the latest models after a year, making them free. So I'd imagine that videos, images, etc., they'll be more generous in the free tiers going forward as well. Now, these are just like some of the tools that Gemini has, and I was just showing you the best in class for HeyGen for generating these kind of videos. If you just want a video of yourself, then again, Gemini can generate some videos of you over here. You can use, again, ElevenLabs to generate audio. They have a reasonably generous kind of free tier, etc. But yes, as of now, you do have to pay for these. The tools that are available right now, they consume a lot of GPU as server processing. They're quite expensive that way. But if they are useful to you, give it a free trial. It is worth paying for it if it makes sense for you. Again, I don't pay for Suno. I do pay for ElevenLabs. I'm not paying anything for HeyGen right now because I'm not really using it as much, but maybe down the line I'll use that as well. Yeah. So broadly, these are the things that we have for today. We're on the dot 5:30. Not bad, not bad. We looked at everything from images, generating images, to generating videos, using images to clean up things, using images to kind of come up with completely new images. Videos, we looked at how to stitch together or how to bring together entire long videos. There was a question over here about how we can kind of stitch all of this together. Right now, it's very manual. So there are certain tools that are designed to create flows, but this is the best in class as of December 2025. Like Coca-Cola has money to spend and they can't get this right? So that's how difficult a problem that is, purely because of how many iterations it takes, etc. But the best in class right now is create static frames and make sure the entire storyboard is manually done so you can control each of these scenes and then generate the videos again manually. There are other specific tools for video creation, but Gemini uses the tech raw, so you can kind of use it the same way as well. Yes, so we discussed this use case, and yeah. All right, so yes, and then we got HeyGen, mentioned that as well. I've shown you how this looks like, and that's pretty much it. So this is a recap basically of everything that's possible using image, video, sound, voice, AI avatars, etc. as of Feb 2026. There are some slightly new things that have come out in the last 2-3 days alone. But I think the main message that I want everyone to take away with is that there are technology capabilities which are now emerging, and there are a lot of use cases, right? So these use cases is where creativity is also needed. Just imagine you had an expert Photoshopper by your side who can create these things. You have an expert videographer who can make, at the moment, 8-second scenes, but you can manually stitch that together. You have an expert musician who can compose music for you from scratch. You can narrate anything in any language, in any voice or accent, right? Is that useful to you? Well, maybe it is. And finally, you can create videos of yourself saying certain things, or you can create videos of your clients or users that are using a product in different places that you can stitch together. All right. Cool. So that's pretty much it for today. And as always, if you have any questions, we will now be taking people up on stage. And so if you want to raise your hand and I will unmute you, you can come up, get on camera, ask any questions. I can't promise all the answers, but I promise it'll be entertaining and educational. So with that, we will now go to the Q&A segment of today's session. Thank you so much, guys. For those who have to drop off, can drop off. There will be homework in a combination of generating images and then using that image to generate videos. So some version of that, stay tuned for that. All right, if you want to raise your hand, I will pull you guys up on stage with me. Let me see if I can get the hand raise part going. Okay. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi. Yes.
Hello. I'm Ram Kripal Patel, Vishal. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
You have created video of your own, and there was no voice. How can we fill the voice?
That's a great question. So I think in VO model as of now, there isn't a voice in this interface. Let me just confirm that. You'd have to kind of manually do it. There's another tool to do. Or you have to create the voice in ElevenLabs and stitch that together. So as of now, as of Feb 8th, using Gemini alone, it'll not give you a voice. But that being said, there is a version of it which allows you to do it. I'm not sure if everyone has access to it. Let me just see if I can show that. So there is another website as part of Google Suite. And I guess the real learning is in the final Q&A section. But this is sort of the one level above the Gemini video generation. And I believe this does support voice as well. I'll just document the exact process and add that in the guide so you guys can check it out. But as far as I can see, there is a way you can generate the voices natively as well. There's like other tools that you can stitch the voice together. But if you want somebody to speak, then I think Flow allows you to control the voice as well. I'll give a specific tutorial on that. Okay. Yeah, so the current Gemini video tool is just generating video only. So if you want voice, you have to do that in another tool, or you can stitch those together. Does that answer your question?
Vishal, Raghavan here.
Yes, Raghavan.
I generated a video. Other things I couldn't, made a payment and other things. Video was generated. I'm unable to save it anywhere else. I can't download. Doesn't allow me to download. I don't know why.
Okay. Not sure what happened there, but
Okay.
maybe we'll see this after this session. But yeah, I'm able to download. Let me know if anyone else has issues in downloading videos, but as you can see, I was able to download it. Yeah.
I do get the download indicator, but somehow it doesn't. It says you don't have permission to download.
Oh, it might be your browser just saying, allow downloads from this website, something like that.
Okay.
I don't think that if you're seeing the icon to download, then that's...
Yes. I'm seeing the icon, but then doesn't actually come out. But I was able to copy the link and send it to my WhatsApp. So I have to again open the entire Gemini rather than seeing the video.
Okay. It might be a download permission issue. Just check that out.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Other things I'm stuck because of payments. Payments is a problem. So other things which I learned just now, I really cannot implement too much.
Yeah. Again, I try to cover what is possible in Gemini, but some of the things are not available in Gemini, so we have to go outside for them. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi Vishal, Anand here.
Hey Anand.
Interview was fun. So first of all, thank you so much for these sessions, and I have been really enjoying it. The ones which I miss also, I make sure that I go through the recordings, and so the recordings are immensely helpful. One of the observation I had was all of this fun. It's very interesting and very useful. But as you keep using the premise as of 8th Feb, I suspect this will keep changing. In 2 months, everything will change. So we might have, need one masterclass from you every quarter or so to keep us updated on what's happening. That's just one observation. And then one question. My video is still generating. I don't know why. I'll try it again. One question I had was and I'm also realizing Gemini is much better than ChatGPT as of today. I have the same observation. I'm shifting. What is the efficient use to sort of manage all the chat windows? Because here I see they keep exploding. Sometimes it comes automatically. Also, if I say something on my phone, it opens a chat window. How do you sort of manage your chat windows? It just keeps, you have to keep removing them basically after you do anything.
You mean the chat on the side when I am chatting?
Yeah.
Okay. I've kind of gotten used to not caring. So like the cost of generation is now so low that I just start a new conversation and assume that it'll remember what I've said in the past. Only if I have like specific conversations that I want, then I will pin them, because then I know that I will come back to them. So pinning is probably the only optimization you have at the moment. Otherwise, I would literally like open easily 50 to 100 conversations per day, and just go from there. But pinning is your next best friend. Otherwise, I can't really see any other optimization unless you want to delete, or I don't think there's even an option for that. Yeah.
You can delete. But one question. So in ChatGPT, I used to keep all the context of something which I wanted in the same window. I used to always go back and do it there only, because it doesn't have that connect across chat windows, right? It doesn't retain the context across chat windows.
You're right. It doesn't as well as it would. So yeah, pretty much pinning them.
Pinning, yeah.
Okay. You would have 10, 20 different contexts that you can keep going. Wow, this guy's kind of creepy at this point. You can do that. Now, when you said as of, my favorite sentence, and I hope some of you will start using it as well, is as of a certain date, this is the best, or this is the best practice as of now. These technologies, I think, are the fastest growing we've seen in humanity. And they will get incrementally better. So for example, just 2 days back, there was another video generation model called Kling, which has just come out with a 15-second video, which is mind-blowing as of 8th Feb that's come out. Now, I did forecast, like I think a year or two ago, that at one point we'll be able to generate, we can just say like, give me a 2-hour movie with Shah Rukh Khan and Angelina Jolie as a family entertainer comedy. And it'll just generate a 2-hour video for you in the way that you like it. and it'll probably take 5-10 minutes to generate, right? So that's something that I can definitely see happen. The pieces of that as of now are generating 5-second clips. Character consistency is a very painful thing at the moment, like getting the same person across different scenes. You can see even here in this particular scene, that guy's hairstyle has changed ever so slightly. Character consistency, timing, even maintaining voice across all of them. So all of these pieces are still evolving. I expect them within the next 2 to 3 years, they'll get even better. But yeah, anything longer than 8 seconds, and if you want to manually stitch together to make a minute or two video, is a lot of. But let's see, the exciting times.
Vishal, I managed to save the video. Vishal, I managed to save the video.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for sharing the good news. All right. Yeah. Any other questions? Prachi?
Hi, this is Prachi. So I'll go next. I tried to create a video from Gemini, and I was actually able to add the voice also. But it is saying that I'm not able to download MP4. So it says I cannot give you the MP4 output. I can give you some 3-4 formats. It's given HTML, etc., etc. I don't know whether I was trying enterprise version today. So some restrictions or I don't know. But today, earlier when I generated, I was able to download. But it said I cannot give you output in MP4. I built animation using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to.
I think it's gone in the wrong direction of trying to create a website instead of trying to create a video. Maybe we'll debug.
Yeah. That's what has happened. Yeah.
HTML. So sometimes if it doesn't catch the right tool, so remember there is an LLM, and then there are tools like image generation, video generation, deep research. These are all tools that the basic LLM AI has access to. So if it misinterprets the intent, like create an image, and it creates a prompt of an image, that's just the tool not catching on. And so if you sometimes ask it create a video, it might create a website with the different frames. That's not. So sometimes you just have to explicitly ask create a video, like select that tool, and then it'll do it. In terms of the video with audio, let me see what the best practice is at the moment, and I'll publish a guide as per that.
Cool. Yeah, I'll recheck that. Thank you. It's very helpful.
Cool. All right. Not as many questions today, which is fine. There is anyone else have questions?
No, today it was tools, no? So either I did it or not did it. So no questions.
But you managed to get images and videos, right?
Yeah. Images and video I got, yeah.
Good. That's
the
pretty
images
much.
conversion was perfect. Beautiful it was. From winter dress to summer dress, I wish I could show you.
Well,
on the Manhattan seashore.
Very good. Then we're going to see some fun homework submissions this week. This week. All right. If you want to raise your hands, and I will allow you to join as a speaker. Please go ahead and do that. Yes, a couple more people raising their hands. Any questions that are not just related to today, feel free to ask as well. Hi.
Hey, hi. I just have a question, so related to the image generation, where my prompt is good for one person, but if I have to map this to multiple persons, say like 4 people, and I have to say like each person what the person has to do or look like in a prompt, and I'm unable to actually map that person to the image generated. Or even if image is already generated, I want one particular person to be corrected, but I'm unable to actually map that person. So in case of a multiple person generation, how do we do that?
So there's a couple of techniques. Again, it comes back to your prompting kind of your approach. So, but there's also, remember I mentioned about tags and sort of markups. It also works in reverse. So for example, I'm just using Figma right now to say, let me create version where I say, okay, make his hair red. So you can actually submit a markup yourself and then ask Gemini to process it as if you were giving it to a designer to kind of do. Let me see if this works. This may not always work perfectly, but most of the time it does work. So let me see if I can get this, export. I'm using Figma, but you can use Paint or anything else. And then take this image, the circle hair red head. This is a terrible prompt, but let's see if it goes. Come on, buddy, make me look good. You don't have it. Normally I can. Okay. Fix this image. It's decided to act up. But yes, you can actually prompt this. For some reason I think I've not fed it. Fix this image. In some cases, if it detects there are youngsters or any sort of changes that are not considered safe, it'll say like it won't work. It could also be that, yeah, it's tripping up some filter. So some text I have to change, but yeah, there you go. So you can see that I've controlled it so that it only changes that one person.
Right. So if each person's has to be changed, I can distinguish them with some markups.
Yes, that's right. So you can literally mark it as if you're a red pen, and it'll understand that. This is one way. The other way is to basically use like literally as if you're a photographer and say, okay, from the left, the first image, do nothing. First person, do nothing. Second person, make his hair red. Third person, do nothing. Fourth person. Like you need a way to identify. It's like playing Pictionary or dumb charades, right? Like how do you give very specific instructions? But this is one way you can use Nano Banana's sort of understanding of an image. So the LLM part will read the image, understand what's required, and try and do it. Now, as you can see, this worked. For some reason, this didn't. So I'm going to keep trying until it does. This part's a little flaky, but if that's kind of the only way you can do it, you can do that. Does that answer your question?
Yes, I guess. And I have a follow-up question just to understand. So you just played a Coke ad, right? So
Yes.
if I have to create it, is actually I can explain you like for scene 1, okay, do this. For next motion, do this kind of a stuff. So what is it AI language that I can use to distinguish in the first motion do this, in the second motion, continue with this?
So think of the entire storyboarding process of generating an ad or any sort of video that's more than 8 seconds at a time. So I would actually say something like, we're creating an ad for Coca-Cola and where the person is drinking Coca-Cola and before that they're unhappy and afterwards they're happy. Come up with a story where we have multiple 5-second scenes and no talking. I'm just narrating this. So there you go. So it's going to now create these different scenes, which are 5 seconds at a time. So I always want to time it to 5 seconds or 8 seconds, etc. Now, for each of these scenes, generate a 16:9 photorealistic image for the scene. Okay, let me do that. So it's going to generate these scenes. Now, I've not got character consistency because I'm just saying just keep generating, but ideally I will upload photos of the people that I want so that it knows use this person in this scene, etc. Or I can generate the scenes and then swap out the people later. And I would actually use more control JSON-based prompting to kind of say, what I want exactly here. Now it's kind of just combined all of them into one. Generate an image for the first scene. it's going to be generating one scene at a time is what I actually wanted it to do. This kind of just took everything and just merged it into one.
Okay, yeah, that's clear.
Generate an image for the second scene. Generate an image for the second scene. Keep going, scene. It's gonna take its sweet time, but yes, you can start stitching together each of these scenes until you have a storyboard, and then you can swap out saying, okay, this is too dark, too light, etc. But it's not bad, so it's done this. Next scene, please. And then what I would do is take each frame, take each scene, and with this action, generate a video. So let me see if I can do that while it's generating. So I take this guy, take here, drop this here, take that image, use VO, and generate. And by the way, there are other tools like Google Flow. It allows you to kind of do all of this in a much faster way. The video editing part is usually the most painful part of all of this, where you have to stitch together and make changes and all of that. And this entire workflow, what you're doing is also like we have to iterate each time. So maybe I don't like this, or I change the person. I want the action to be different. So there's a lot of iterations at each scene. And there are like more specialized tools. Gemini is just like a master of everything. So I'm kind of just showing this, and it's as it's pro tier, but the process would remain the same. Text to image, scenes of images to videos, and then edit video together. And this will take a minute or two. So, but does that give you a perspective on the approach?
Yes, very much. Yeah, thank you.
Cool. All right. Any other questions? If you
Shah, one more quick question. I think I already got the answer from last session. Somebody asked it, but I just wanted to re-clarify something there. So in the slide generation thing, you said we have to be disappointed. There's nothing which can take everything and make a proper deck out of it. But even a basic use case like is there some tool which can just do the basic formatting, like make everything aligned and all the fonts same, use a particular color scheme, that kind of thing is available, or like very basic intelligence?
I think at the moment PowerPoint is fairly decent. You can upload something and there'll be an option of multiple designs on this side, design editor, which will allow you to make some basic changes. Let me find some other previous document. Again, yes, I'm glad you remember the prepare to be disappointed.
Yeah.
Setting the expectations, man. That's all. But yes, I'm just trying to see if I can open a presentation with my Copilot friend. There should be a design guide. There you go. It's design suggestions.
Yeah, basically using Google Slides, working with a lot of people, everybody contributing creates a lot of mess, right? Everything is in a different format, different color scheme. So that's what I'm wondering, if AI should be able to just simply take it and just maintain a consistent color scheme, which I can specify. And the basic title, subtitle, what kind of boxes, what font size, which font, all of that is a very manual, tedious process otherwise.
So as of now, I'm pretty sure there isn't anything that can do it to the degree that you're expecting. Okay, these are all images, so this is never going to work anyway. I think the best in class tool is like either Gamma or Beautiful.ai.
Yeah.
And if they're recreating the slides from each time, or they're just messing around with the layouts. Like, so as of now, if you're using Google Slides, you can probably try importing and exporting it back from PowerPoint and then trying to fix it. But I wouldn't invest time right now in trying to solve that problem. I'll let you know when there is a solution.
Sure. Thank you.
Right. A couple more people.
Hello, Vishal.
Hello there.
Hello, Vishal.
Yes, yes. Hi.
Actually, I'm using Gemini. If I give any prompt, I get the result in Gemini, either Chat GPT also. But there is in Google, if I type something, some prompt, Google give the result. What
Like
is what? And
like-
hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You mean like here in google.com?
Google.com.
Mhm.
If I give any prompt, it gives the result.
Yes.
If we look at the result, then again it is there is a tab like AI mode. If I click on AI mode, it gives very good result like Gemini and all that. So
Yes.
I want to know this AI mode and Gemini both are same or different?
That's a great question. They use the same backend. So using Gemini, so Gemini is the model name, and that's the intelligence layer, and Google is the search that you see here. So fundamentally, they use the same backend technology. In fact, let's just compare right now the same question that was asked, and I'll use it fast mode just to give you a clear difference.
Yes.
Let's just see what this-
But what I observed, AI mode is giving the better result than Gemini. That was the reason I asked.
Yeah.
This was my observation. Maybe you may think reverse.
Yeah, so you can see here. Okay, so what AI mode does is actually tries to also read Google's like the 10 results that would have come out and then stitch that together. So you can see here it's going through like these 15 sites, which are broadly the top 10, etc. So it's doing a fast search. This is also doing a version of that, but it's not using sort of the absolute live version that would have come from a Google search. It's just a different approach. This goes to the LLM first and then enhances it with some sources. This uses mostly the sources first and then enhances it. But if I just compare, the exact question that was asked at the moment, what tools it's come up? Beautiful AI, Copilot. Slide form is not mentioned here. Gamma is mentioned. Plus AI is new, and Dectopus is also new. Now here, yeah. So it's covered maybe 4 of the tools that it would have suggested, whereas here it's covered like at least 2 more that are new over here. Now, this in some cases will be better because it is searching some things that are from the internet that is the absolute latest. So as of 5th Feb, Dectopus has an article that has just been published and it has somehow surfaced to the top. So it has kind of done it. And in fact, I think Dectopus might be the tool that you're looking for, by the way. They seem to be specifically saying, can AI generate presentations using? So again, I'm not sure how good this is, but at least they're claiming to answer the problem statement. Again, no right answer on this one, but it does seem like the AI mode is fairly good. It is able to give me a decent response. So I guess in a sense, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, that means AI mode is giving the more updated result. Can I think in that way?
Slightly, yes. I'd say so. I think I see it as whatever Google search is giving at the top, it is kind of filtering that. It's more SEO oriented, etc. But since you raised the question, what is the difference between Gemini and AI mode in Google?
I have practiced this. Once I observed, then I tried to research by typing the same thing 11-15 times. Then I found this is the better than Chat GPT and Gemini both.
Mm-hmm.
What I observed.
Yeah. I think they claim to be similar, but you're right. I think the live web is the main thing, whereas Gemini starts with the LLM responses and then it sort of adds any limited web browsing, unless you specifically tag deep research. I suspect the deep research will be even better than AI live mode, but over here, from what I sense, my basic understanding is that AI live mode first does a Google search and then it kind of processes the results and gives you the output. Whereas this doesn't do a Google search. It'll check with Gemini's own trained data first. And if there's any sources that it knows are good, it'll surface them. So yeah, I say AI mode is very good for sure.
Vishal,
Thank you,
Prakash here.
Vishal.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for bringing it. Really appreciate you sharing that.
Thank you so much.
Vishal, one question on observation on one of the previous activity that we have done, especially taking the profile, LinkedIn profile, and narrating, and asking AI to come up with observation in the marking it the right color, things like that. I, with your permission, I use the same your own profile and use the same prompt. The narration, the observation, what it gave me is slightly different. Most of the time, it's 60% different from the markers that you show when you prompted the same question. Yeah. So how this happens? We are using the same model, same profile, and same prompt, and the observations are slightly different.
So you're right. I'm glad you picked up on that. Now, the way LLMs right now work is a bit like rolling dice. So it is, the whole concept is it's probabilistic. Probabilistic means that there is a probability at each stage that it will trigger some action, it will trigger some analysis, etc. Which means that when I ask you a question, think of it almost like as a human, right? Like if I ask you, please analyze this report and find mistakes. Now, if you're in a very good mood, you will find all mistakes. If you're in a bad mood, you'll find maybe more mistakes or even things that you didn't observe. If you are in a sleepy mood, you will not find many things. So there is a human probability as well, where you're not 100% in control of it. Now, software, traditional software is non-probabilistic, it's deterministic, which means that A becomes B becomes C, etc. It's very linear. So you will get exactly the same output every time you run it. But LLMs are based on probabilities, that the probability of the next word may be this. And it may not always pick the exact same thing each time. And that's why this whole retry or redo thing is very evident, because due to random noise inside the system, it will generate a different output every time. That is the nature of generative AI, LLMs, image and video generation. And the mental model I have is it's rolling dice. So it is around 60%. And in fact, if you go to proper LLMs like the AI Studio as part of Google Suite, there is a thing called temperature.
Yeah. Okay.
But temperature is how unpredictable. What is temperature in LLMs?
Something to do with the weightage and the bias of each next iteration.
Yeah.
Of the
So correct. So you can see here, create infographic presenting temperature. So temperature basically is how much variation you're expecting every time it runs the model. So if your temperature is low, P equal to 0, it will give the same answer every single time. If the temperature is 1, it will give a sort of semi-random answer. Now, you might be thinking, why can't I just put it at 0? I want the exact same answer every time. The problem is, when you put it at 0, it has no creativity. And what you want from an LLM is to think creatively. Think of things that it might need to stitch together multiple ideas and give you something interesting. So if you run the same thing and you get exactly the same, one paragraph, which may not always be correct as well, then the true value of LLMs doesn't really come out. And so we maintain like a reasonable mix of, temperatures. In fact, if you're doing fact checking and extracting of data, as it says, you want to keep a low temperature. If you're doing ideating, then you want to keep a 1 or above. Okay. Most of the time it is on 0.7, which means the 30%, you said 60% was same, 40% was off, right? Like that's a very normal situation where maybe it will be covering half of the time common things, but the other half is where I expect, be creative, come up with new ideas and give me that. So the best practice is actually not just if you're looking for feedback, don't just do it once, do it like 2-3 times. And it is almost like taking 3 of your employees and giving them, the same thing. Each person will do slightly something different.
Got it.
But yeah.
Got it. It's clear. Thank you, Isha.
Yeah. Sorry, I go next, Vishal. I know you are working at the core of AI, but I just wanted to quickly check on what do you think about ethical Gen AI, particularly because the tools really go and pick up the reference from somewhere, and if you really have to look at using something that is equivalent to a handcrafted image, for instance, how do you look at it?
How I look at it. So there's definitely been not so great practices of all the LLMs. It's almost like we drive cars, but we know fossil fuels are being burnt somewhere. So I think even things like Anthropic burning books, is that happening? For me, this was like, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
They have literally bought the books and then destroyed them and can digitize them so that they're, when I say burnt, it's basically through the process they had to kind of destroy each copy, etc., right? Rather than distributing them. So this was like their approach, and Anthropic is like right now one of the top model building kind of models. Claude Cowork is from there, etc. So there is multiple aspects of it in terms of how much data is being sucked in to train these models. So like I said, I see it as fossil fuel. There is going to be losers in this market of people who have content sitting on them that is used to train. It's still a very big gray area because there's like value from, hey, in this book, what happens? Whereas somebody has written that book. But I see some of this, like for example, in India specifically, India AI copyright, there are certain rules saying that in India, at least, that one, AI generated content is not copyrightable. And secondly, data used for training any AI model in India is permitted. So as of now, the current position is use whatever data is needed because the value it unlocks is too valuable, which means that if you want to create a model that can translate into Hindi or speak in Tamil or Telugu, the government says, do whatever it takes to happen, because if you can pull that off, then it is so much more valuable to the rest of society. What does that mean for people who write original content and create original graphics and image and things like the Studio Ghibli thing? Everyone was using it. It was good fun, but ultimately Studio Ghibli was like, hello, this is our kind of design style that you copied. I'd say once the cat is out of the bag in terms of anything that goes online, you're pretty much screwed if that is something that is the only thing that you keep. That being said, things like Studio Ghibli and other artists and other content creators, these are completely unique things. Like AI almost cannot create those again, even though it might be a shadow of what it is. And that's as of Feb 8th, 2026, where at least if in our heads we can create things that does not exist, AI will struggle to do that. Ultimately, right now, all of the AI right now is creating some remix or version of things that already exist. It is novel to individuals like us, but it exists somewhere. And I guess I'm on the side right now of the value creation that it delivers. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Great. I mean, the reason I asked is I come from the fun gaming background, and what used to take an army of a team, comprising of engineers, artists, and animators, and all that, today is done by small teams of 3 or 4 people who just know really how to do prompt engineering, and those games are actually making millions of dollars in revenues. And if they know the art of marketing and then driving traffic to games, then there are lots of games that are looking very promising in this industry, and it's really a huge change as opposed to what used to look like capital intensive industry.
Yeah, no, that's a very very good input as well. And I think the world is going through a revolution of things that were expensive becoming cheap, which completely changed the game. And this is not the first time this has happened as a society, right? Like food, luxury food was expensive, travel was expensive, thanks Air Deccan. Different things that we consider as necessities were luxuries in the past, but we take for granted that we can have it now. I mean, how many cars were there 100 years back? How many fridges were there? How many TVs were there? How many portable phones were there? So like that, different things that were expensive become cheaper, which means that what we are building as a society also will change by the very nature of it. And as you said, small teams are now able to create games which are entertaining, etc. Now, that requires some sort of vision in somebody's head that, hey, the humans of today's era will find this entertaining. Let me try creating it. And then a compelling sort of game mechanism, the visuals, the narrative, all of that is that thought process. Again, you can use AI to kind of prompt and accelerate the process, but it still requires a human right now to kind of steer the horse of AI. And if you can do that, then there is like zero reason to kind of not do that. And I'm just sharing this quick screen here that Steam, which is a common game portal of downloading games, they have actually have a disclosure of saying which games have used AI and which games haven't used AI. And they started doing this since the last year, and a lot of games are using AI. I mean, it's like if you want to create something quick and nice, you can do that using AI. But I think there was a game of the year 2025. There was one game which basically they did not use AI. They deliberately were like every single artifact is hand designed, crafted, etc. And this won like the most number of awards in a year of how good a game it was. And they claim to be zero AI. So this was like a surprise to people. Okay, in this era also humans are able to do a much better job than any other human with AI. And it comes down to, I guess, the talent and the eye and the sort of the leadership in this space. Anyway, thanks for raising that point. Was that your question or just any thoughts?
Yes. That was just my question, and I wanted to understand your viewpoints. Thank you.
All right. I think I've covered everybody. And I think we're done for now. So if that's all, then I bid everyone a warm, pleasant, cool Sunday evening, and I will catch you guys in a week from now. Stay tuned for homework on the WhatsApp group. As always, help each other out, be good humans. If anyone asks any question, please answer it if you know the answer to. We're all trying to learn and share and discover and grow as individuals, but as a team, I think as a collective, we can do even more. So thanks so much, guys. All right. Take care. I'm ending this call. Bye.
Thanks, Vishal.